battery will not turn on, rear axis camera mount broken, and sub comes off the platform in a rough launch. Were you aware of all these incidents during your dive or after your dive?
Well, I had forgotten that they had an acoustic event down below, but yeah, that does ring a bell now that I'm looking at it.
So I'll ask you to go into that acoustic event, but I'm going to ask Lieutenant Steele to keep this up on the screen and have you go through these from your point of view as a passenger when you're inside the submersible. Can you kind of take us through these incidents and what they look like to you from inside the submersible? You had already talked about the thrusters.
Yeah. Well, and I talked about the weights being jammed. Mm-hmm. We couldn't get them off. The acoustic sensors, yeah, and now that I'm looking at it, I do recall, I mean, they were all discussing everything that was happening in a group setting. I didn't necessarily understand the nomenclature they were referring to, but I recall concerns with the acoustic sensor at depth. And the dome hinge retention plate, and I don't recall that. The DVL intermittent, I don't recall. The external lights flickering, yeah, I remember that. The pan and tilt, yeah, we had issues with that. We had issues with the battery. And no, that was the other mission. We had issues with the scrubber, but I think that was 2022. I don't remember the camera being broken, and the rough launch we talked about. Yeah, I recall most of those.
Did any of that cause you any concern while you were inside the submersible at the time?
Well, there wasn't anything I could do about it. I mean, we just had to get back to the surface. And I wasn't unduly, there was a level of concern. I just figured we'd sort it out and return to the surface.
How did the acoustic sensors and the monitoring, was there like a screen inside that they pulled up? Like, what did that look like?
I believe it was on the laptop screen, but again, I didn't understand what I was looking at. So, to ask me to explain what they were talking about, it was all over my head. I knew that they were monitoring the whole, but I believe it was on a laptop or an iPad or something.
Yesterday, we heard witness testimony from another mission specialist. They described the hull to be very quiet on dives. Was that your experience as well?
Generally.
The pop sound that's listed there on the second item, did you hear that sound?
Yeah, we've had a couple, pop. The one up top was the loud and alarming one, but yeah, there were a couple noises.
And this, just to differentiate, that was on dive 80, but this was on dive 62. Was there another? It says that 1,700 meters pop sound.
I don't recall any loud sounds on 62. No, it was the only loud one was on the 2022 mission.
Okay, thank you. You can take that down, Lieutenant Steele. Thank you.